think it's just the guy.
Poltergeists, apparitions and betrayal await the most haunted team in Yorkshire. Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. Today's location centres on not just a building nor a village, but a national phenomenon. One of the nation's most famous families once roamed these streets, and a century and a half later, many feel that they haven't left. With ghostly apparitions throughout and poltergeists on every floor, I had to bring you to the Black Bull. Haworth lies just 4 miles from the West Yorkshire town of Keighley, and its village square is dominated by 2 contrasting properties: the parish church and our base, the 300-year-old Black Bull public house. Literary legends the Brontes once lived in the adjacent parsonage and are buried in the church. And Most Haunted arrives here on a historic date, for on this day 150 years ago, Charlotte Brontë died. And to add further intrigue to our investigation, the authors also told of a tale that few would welcome. A bitter family feud that forced Branwell Brontë, the family's black sheep, to retreat all too often into the Black Bull. But did he or his troubled kin ever really leave? 2 ghostly figures have been seen sitting at the tables in the main bar area. One wearing plain clothes, the other wearing a top hat. Also, a ghostly shadowy figure has been seen at the other end of the bar. Poltergeist activity is rife in this area. Glasses and ashtrays smashed to the floor when there's no one around. With people being touched, strange lights and a ghostly dog, you'd think this place was scary enough. But there is one account that stands out more than most. A small girl who visits here has been seen offering her sweets to an unseen guest.
I was quite sceptical before I came here, but there are certain things that have happened in here that logic just can't explain. All the staff have felt things and heard things, seen things out of the corner of their eye. So I'm more open-minded now.
I've experienced a few things around the bar and in the kitchen as well. Ashtrays, glasses, falling off shelves. It seems like somebody stamps his feet behind me when I'm in the kitchen. And a few sightings from the corner of my eye and things like that. None of it's malicious, it's all little things. I haven't experienced anything nasty, so I'm quite comfortable with it.
At the back of this building there is probably one of the most scary graveyards that I've ever encountered. It's reported that up to 40,000 people were buried there. There is a story at one of the Brontes' funerals that a dark figure, an extra figure, was seen standing with the mourners. Who that figure was, nobody knows. The Bronte sisters' brother, Branwell, frequented this inn on many, many occasions. He was, unfortunately, an alcoholic. He was also a drug addict, and he spent many, many a long night getting very, very drunk here in this very place. This man was the black sheep of the family, and it's believed that his ghost still haunts this place. Branwell was also quite an acclaimed artist, and there is actually a print of a picture that he painted. Many years later he fell out with his sisters, and he actually painted himself out of the picture. It's quite a scary looking picture, because all you can see in between the 3 girls is this sort of white haze that looks very much like a ghost.
Dark figures and strange smells have been witnessed on these stairs, but much of the activity is centred around this chair, which used to belong to Branwell Brontë. Could the dark figure seen here be his ghost? We have 24 hours to find out.
The date is the 31st of March,
and the time is 8:40, setting one lock-off camera here and then one behind so that this camera is actually in shot.
Parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe has also joined us in Haworth, and given its rich history, he's a particularly keen observer of today's events.
Given how well known the history of the Brontë family is and the association that the Brontes have with the Black Bull Inn, I'm quite interested to see what the mediums come up with. What we're looking for is information that's a bit more detailed than just the name Brontë. We're looking for information associated with particular objects or particular places actually within the Black Bull itself. Because we're in a drinking establishment, we have to be very careful of the eyewitness accounts. We have to treat them with a little bit of skepticism. However, there have been common accounts throughout history, and it's those particular accounts that we're going to focus on and maybe conduct seances or conduct vigils in particular places where accounts have been given. One of the other sites at the Black Bull is the graveyard, which rests behind the Black Bull Inn. This, by its very nature, is going to be a very, very difficult place to investigate because it's outside. We have to be aware of animals. Also, because of the lighting, we have to be very careful that none of the crew interpret shadows or anything that's perfectly natural as being supernatural.
Spiritualist mediums Derek Okora and David Wells have now arrived in the White Rose County, although neither was aware of why we had chosen this particular destination. What we did know is that this investigation will be played out against a backdrop of beauty and bitterness. But how would most haunted fare at the Black Bull?
The atmosphere, even not the present day atmosphere, what has been emitted from the residual, seems to be an awful lot of people. It seems to be, some of them stooped over heavy, and some of them, it's like, I get the impression as if they're walking past at times, and I've got a mixture, I've got children, I've got youngsters, I've got adults, and they all seem to be, I don't know why, but they all seem to be like ill, not well at all. And I feel it's like my lungs and my chest and, you know, tightening here. So there's an illness and an ailment or something that has affected people here at some time or other. Right. I don't feel it's shown any mercy at all. It would have taken these people into the spirit realm. Oh, I'm aware of a man now who does move here. He's small. In height, he's smaller than you, Evie. And he's rather, I'd say, pointed features, if that's the right word. But here, to the hair, is like a very, very, very deep red colour. Red hair. And he moves about here. He comes in visitation.
Is he in connection with the illness that you're talking about?
I can't tell at the moment, Evie, but I'm aware of him coming on this ground floor, especially from the back end there. And I feel he possibly, at times when someone who physically works and comes through the rooms, may see, like, even a shadowy figure. But he comes here and I don't feel a negative soul. A person probably that was a thinker. He most certainly would have liked to drink. That's for certain. I know we're in a drinking establishment, but this one would definitely like a drink. In our modern day, we've heard the saying, a person's gone on a bender. When he'd drink for days. What is that?